The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Yeah. NY born, NY built.
What is up, yo?
Vanilla
Happy
Gorilla,
Sunday.
Big Dog.
Another Sunday
Untouchables.
with
Let's
your
go.
favorite
Step in the
hostess
ring like kings
with
of the block.
most.
Gorilla grip, Big Dog, never stop. Iron in the veins, no gimmicks, no props. This is hard work, black top and body slops. Ain't no flash, just fists and fake. We run through ropes like we run through
It
gates.
can't be. This is crazy.
This bond ain't fake. You hear that roar? That's the
And if
Empire
nobody at
shake.
home knows who
We
this
the
guy is, this is the Big Dog. And he did get a tip from the Brooklyn Prodigies earlier on that they had travel issues, but not due to them being scared or anything like that. But oh my gosh, the Vanilla Gorilla and the Big Dog and the Untouchables
Now we run
just
shows
inserted
like the city
themselves
ran
into this
drops,
tag team.
elbows harder than a steel trash can. One shot, knock 'em flat on sight. Two beats bred for the spotlight fight. They can talk tough, bark loud all night, but in the ring, we bite and we bite right. We are untouchables, NY bred, 2 fists swinging, leave legends dead. Joey bring the rage, they bring the brain. Together we storm like a runaway train. Untouchable, New York style. We don't tap, we make them snap. We don't tap, we make them snap.
Yo, what is up? What is up? Happy Sunday, fun day. How's everybody doing today? Today is a nasty day out, so y'all know.
Well, at least where we are, not where everybody else is.
Well, there's some of the other people are right, sun, 95, 100 degrees, you know, that kind of stuff. We'll keep it at that. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us a special guest, Mr. Matty the Bull. What is up, Matty? What is going on?
What's going on, fellas? Thank you.
No, thank you for coming in. If I wasn't here, my man, I appreciate you. And, so what are you doing?
Got my snow, got my coffee and my John Wayne mug ready to go.
Nice.
New lighters came in, by the way, everybody.
Yes.
There'll be a giveaway for a Cigar Bro lighter. That's coming soon, as well as a humidor. Stay tuned for that. I'm getting that up this week. I mean, listen, our guest is here. I think we should just get right into it.
Let's go.
There's a guest that we've wanted on, a brand that we smoke quite frequently with our lunatics and everything else that we've smoked from him.
Yeah,
So let's bring him up. Where's it at? Where's my little?
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
And here he is, Mr. Terence Riley from Aganorsa.
Hey guys, I can't hear you.
Can't hear us? Hold
I
on.
don't know if you can hear me.
Hold on. Hello? Testing.
I can hear you.
I can hear
me?
you.
Okay.
But I can't hear them.
Can't
That's
hear me?
weird.
I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me, Maddie?
Yeah, I got everybody.
You want me to
Hold on.
drop out and come back in?
No. Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I can leave and just come straight back. I can't hear anyone other than you.
Can you hear us now?
All right, I'm gonna just drop and come right back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Huh.
That's weird. I'm not sure what's going on.
That's weirdo.
But again, StreamYard does have that happen. It does happen from time to time. We all know that. We've seen it happen live. But this right here is probably one of my favorite lunatics that I've smoked.
Hombre Libre.
Hombre Libre. I found this on a fluke a while ago when I was kind of just looking around on websites for stuff to buy. And, you know, we all find things made for certain places and stuff like that. And I was looking at something else, and these popped across my table, and
you know, I let it go for a little while, and then we decided to have.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. It's fine
Okay.
now. Yeah. I don't know what the heck it was. Weird.
You know what? StreamYard, that does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Technology is great, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, here we are. It's all's well that ends well.
We're here. Everybody's here now. So, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're one of the guests that we've been looking to have on at some point. Because we enjoy the lunatics and the
JFR.
Jesus. A lot of the stuff you guys have made that I didn't even know you made that I've smoked over the years.
We hear that a lot.
I didn't find out until later on down the line. And somebody's like, "Oh, you know, Aganorsa makes that, right?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, it's." I'm like, "No, it's this company." They're like, "No, Aganorsa makes it, but it's for them." I'm like, "Oh." Again, I learned.
I always say even if you haven't heard of us, you've had our tobacco at some point.
Okay. So, how long have you been doing the tobacco field stuff?
How long have I been in the business, or how long has Aganorsa been doing it?
How long have you been in the business along with Aganorsa? How about that?
So I've been in the business close to 20 years now. My uncle is a gentleman named Manuel Quesada. I have a gringo named Terence Riley, but my father is he's got a family that was from Cuba and Spain that was in the tobacco business. Quesada cigars. They made the Casa Magna through Plasencia.
Great cigars.
They make a lot of the Ferio Tego stuff. And I worked for him for many years, and then 9 years ago, or this is my 9th year, so a little over 8 years ago, I came to Aganorsa, and Aganorsa has been in the business since the mid 90s. The owner, Eduardo Fernandez, he's Cuban, like a lot of people in this business, but he was not from a tobacco background. I mean, he left Cuba in the early 60s after his family donated all their stuff to Castro very generously. He grew up in South Florida, but like he wasn't from a tobacco family or anything like that. And he and his brother actually created a pizza business in Spain called Telepizza. It was like the first Pizza Hut style fast delivery pizza and in Spain, and it was very successful. They sold the company for a potload of money, and he'd always liked agriculture. And in the mid 90s, Nicaragua was really starting to open up for investment, and he went down there. He got involved in cattle farms, pig farms, rice, all different stuff. And then on the tobacco side, because he didn't have the experience, he went to Cuba and he brought back Cuban agronomists that had worked for Cuba Tobacco and had been retired. Because they weren't party members, basically. So like once you're in Cuba, if you're not in the Communist Party, you kind of get to a certain level, and then they say, okay, well, sit this one out. They want the highest level people to be party members, and they weren't party members because you have to fill out like a test to become a party member. And one of the questions is, do you believe in God? And the correct answer in a communist country is no. Right. And they would say yes. And so they'd say, okay, yeah, come back next year or whatever. And so they couldn't be party members. So these gentlemen, they were kind of sitting around doing not too much, even though they had incredible experience growing tobacco. One gentleman, Arsenio Ramos, he was head of all leaf processing in Pinar del Rio, Cuba. He took these guys, brought them to Nicaragua, gave them the resources that Nicaragua has and the investment, and allowed them to use that knowledge to start growing tobacco. And the company started off just as a growing company and sold tobacco to different factories. Olivo is one of the first big buyers from us. And over the years, we've sold to Padron, Fuente, JC Newman, Espinosa, Roma Craft, Drew Estate, Altadis, who makes Romeo and Juliet of Monte Cristo. So we've sold to a lot of great customers over the year. And then as time went on, we began manufacturing cigars, both for ourselves and other people. And we have our own brands, which we distribute in the United States.
Okay.
Now, like you said, you guys have a long history in tobacco, a family lineage, if you want to call it that.
It goes back to the 1880s. Yeah.
What a lot of people, sometimes don't get is, people like yourself or like some other people in the industry, you've been around it forever. So, what people are looking for, what they're not looking for. Now, have you gone through like the factory process, like the blending of cigars and stuff like that, since you've kind of been around it as long as you have?
Yeah. So again, I lived when I worked for my uncle at Quesada, I lived in Dominican Republic for a while, and I've been going to Nicaragua and Dominican Republic forever. So I certainly have experience in that area. I would say, though, I would never call myself a blender. When people blend cigars, what they usually mean is they pick out a blend that they like, which is kind of like selecting a blend. That's not really the same thing. Blending a cigar is where you say, we really need more Viso Criollo 98 from our San Nicolas farm, and then combine that with lot 4 of La Mia Farm and Jalapa. That's blending. I don't pretend to do that. That's something that you have to kind of be doing that all the time, every day. And that's I leave that to the experts. I'm more involved in when we're creating something for the market, making sure that it fits into what to a segment we don't currently address. That's something that's desired on the market, and that it fits whatever the concept is supposed to be. If you have a cigar called Simtex and it's mild, that doesn't work. It could be a great cigar, but
that doesn't and the blend doesn't add up at all.
Exactly. So you have to make sure that what you're trying to convey matches what the blend is as well, because otherwise people will be either they won't try, they'll be like, Simtex, that sounds too strong, I won't have that, or they'll be like, that sounds like a strong cigar, let me try that, and then it's mild and they're disappointed. So that's more my role in those areas. In terms of the blending itself, I leave that to the guys at the factory who have been doing it for half a century.
Yeah, no, that's interesting you bring that up, because we've all seen it where there's, I call it like very harsh names for like mild cigars, and it's like, but that's not what I expected. I was hoping for something like this, and it doesn't. We've seen it. I mean, I've smoked them, and it's like I'm upset because the milder, the less, I guess, invasive name they give to the full body cigars instead of giving the harsher name to the full bodies.
Yeah, again, you got to have to really. That's one of the things we talk about with like marketing, where a lot of people feel like marketing is kind of like a trick so that you can charge people more, and then it can be used for that purpose. But really, the idea of marketing is that you convey what the experience should be, and that's really what you want to do. You want to have the person look at it and be like, okay, what I'm perceiving from this then matches the experience that I have, and that's really what the true value of marketing is.
So, I've smoked from your uncle's brand. I've smoked a lot of the Oktoberfest, which are probably my favorite.
I created that.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, 2011.
So those are actually, honestly, like I go to Buttheads in Connecticut to Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, God bless him.
I buy all of like the 2016s. I buy I smoked the Bauhaus, the little pig, one.
Yeah. So that was a funny story with that.
They're so good and they're so hard to find, but I'm so glad he keeps a stock of them, because they're just like, they're perfect smokes for when you want them, because they're already aged.
Yeah, no, those are 10 years old now. We started so in 2011. I had only been with them a couple of years, and so I was like, hey, I still drink beer, not as much as I used to, but I was super into craft beer back then, and that was when craft beer was kind of emerging. And I said, listen, a lot of people are pairing beer with cigars now, not just drinking the swill that they drank in the past, but there's these new beers that are really flavorful and different, and there guys that smoke cigars are pairing them. So why don't we do a cigar for Oktoberfest? It's a seasonal edition. We'll do it so it pairs well with the malt flavor of an Oktoberfest Marzen. And at first he thought I was kind of nuts. He was like, people don't drink beer with cigars. And then at the sales meeting we had right before the show where we released it, a lot of the reps were kind of like, that seems like a gimmick. That's not going to work. People don't drink beer with cigars. And then it turned out to be really successful. So it's a project. And again, to credit to my uncle, and he allowed me to do it despite the fact that he personally didn't really get it at first. And it was they still do it to this day. Every year I still buy a couple, just out of memory. And I think it's great that they're still continued that on. Going on, 15 years now of making that blend every year.
Now, did you come up with sizes for those blends, or were those kind of a collaboration?
No, I can't. I don't know if there's different sizes now or anything. I haven't.
I know, like the 2016.
That was me.
Like the fresh packs. You have like the Robusto, and then the
Bavarian,
like 6x65 or whatever.
Yeah, that was the original two sizes were the Uber and the Bavarian. That was the first. And again, a 6x65. I said, these big ring gauges, people are really getting into them. And again, he was kind of like, people don't smoke cigars that big. And I was like, I'm just seeing more and more people smoke big ring gauge, And then that was those were the first two. And then we came out with the Das Boot, the Kurtz, the Kaiser Ludwig. Then we did the Nicaraguan editions, the Brauhaus. And then there was another one. The other one was a double Bach or something like that. I can't remember now, but yeah. So those were all anything that came after 2017. That was my last year there.
Okay.
Anything from since then, I haven't been involved with names or sizes or anything like that since then. If they do anything different, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know. I usually buy all the old ones because those are the ones when I started smoking. Those are the ones that were available. So those are kind of what I gravitate to and. Thankfully, Kevin has a stockpile of just about everything.
Well, if Kevin doesn't have it, it was never made.
Exactly.
When I think of Oktoberfest, I think of big beer. Yeah. So, anybody who knows anything about Oktoberfest or Germany or so, to me, the bigger cigar is kind of fitting in that.
Yeah. Yeah. The big
until you've seen a woman coming out with all these steins and glasses of beer, that a normal person couldn't possibly hold all at one time.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was so that project still has a special place in my heart, and it was one of the first projects I did in this industry, and I'm very happy they still are producing it to this day every year.
No, that's cool.
So are you still doing that, or are you doing other things now?
No. I work for Aganorsa now, so I have nothing to do with that at this point, and haven't since 2017.
So now the JFRs, I remember when they first came out, like, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago, they had the big one that first came out that my wife bought me.
That's the torpedo. Was it the 8x80 or something like that?
Yeah, the 880. Yeah, the original lunatic. Yeah,
that's a really great cigar, but you're gonna need some time to smoke. So tell us a little something about the JFRs now, please.
So there's the JFR and there's the JFR Lunatic, which are two lines that we have. The original JFR was intended. It kind of came out of doing events throughout the country. We used to take a roller to do events. This is before my time, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago now. And there was this one blend at an event where people were like, man, can I buy these? I'll give you, $20, I'll give you $20 for these. And they were just the event giveaway cigars. And we're like, man, if people are willing to pay that much for the cigar, maybe we have something here. So the concept behind JFR, which is still the concept today, which is why it's lasted so long, is to provide a cigar that people would pay twice as much money for half the price. Most of the JFRs are still under $10. You can get a 6.5 by 52 Toro for $6, $7, depending on the state with taxes and everything.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a everyday smoke, triple capped, pigtail, unfinished foot. Originally, they didn't even have bands. It was like, just keep the price down. We had to put bands on them because people started, putting other cigars in the box and calling them JFR. So we had to put bands on them so they wouldn't do that. And so that was the original concept behind JFR. It was just a great everyday value, at a smoke that if anyone else was selling it, would have been twice the price. And then the Lunatic came about with with big ring gauge becoming popular. The company created the Lunatic line with the 8x80, and again, there's just a segment of the market that loves a big cigar, and just whether they're a truck driver and they're driving for a while, or for the golf course, or just they want to light something up and have one cigar for a while. Although there is a guy that will smoke one every day on his lunch break in a half hour, which I don't recommend. But generally speaking,
especially not that big. Jesus, no.
Yeah. There's every day for lunch break in a half hour he smokes it.
Oh my God!
Here's a group of consumers of big ring gauges that you might not think of. Is I got a couple friends that don't have any teeth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the bigger ring gauge, they don't have to
thought of that,
down so much. Yeah.
I've never thought of that.
Buddy on TikTok, the cigar godfather, Keith. Yep. He doesn't have any teeth, so the bigger ring gauge works.
The whole segment of the market I haven't even thought about. Thank you.
There you go.
You know what? I would have never even thought of that ever.
Neither did I.
So now that we're in the lunatic aspect, I'm gonna ask this because this was his favorite cigar out of the line was the Lunatic Jackhammer.
Yeah, 860. Yep.
That was his favorite cigar.
Best cigar I ever smoked.
Probably up until it either, I don't know if it's discontinued now, if you still make it or if
we
you
still make
the
it.
blend.
No,
okay.
It's a popular size for us still.
I have to find it
because not a lot of people carry it. That's the thing.
Well, they're not going to carry it here in New York because, you know, Terrence is very pricey in New York because it's almost 75%.
Yeah.
$7, it's cost me $17, $18, $19.
Yeah.
Depending on who carries them. And I'm not paying $18 for a cigar.
Yeah, no. The state of New York doesn't make it easy for the retailer or the consumer, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. And you know, I only say that because I worked for a company for about 6 months, and it was not, even though he sold, like you said, you know, the $6, $7 cigars, the budget cigars, they didn't have boxes, but it was still difficult to get them in New York because of the taxes and everything. It was like they don't make it easy for anybody. Like you said, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, it's a tough. They're a tough bunch up there.
They are.
So
that's why I'm in Florida now.
We'll be back. We're taking a commercial break. We'll be back with our two guests, and we'll get back right with you as soon as we can.
What you got, why you got it good. Always just a little misunderstood, but I never tried to change you, even when you're drunk all day. Every time you break, it breaks my heart. Watching you drown yourself and fall apart. You're killing yourself, and it's killing me to have to say. Though it hurts so much, 'cause you were my best friend, you were my muse, the story with a good end, my rhythm blues. You were my soulmate, a damaged man, and I paid for it as much as I think I can, and I thought but I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. I've heard it only hurts 'cause you love so deep, letting you go after all the cheap shots you take of me and Jameson. Your daddy don't help, no, he feeds you lies, and you're wondering why you can't sleep at night in the bed I made. Oh, I thought you were the one, 'cause you were my best friend, you were my muse, the story with a good end, my rhythm. You were my soulmate, a damaged man.
Who was that?
What is up?
That was one of the people that I guess works with our radio station because we're hosted by a veteran-owned station.
But she was great.
Yeah, her name is Jess. I might be butchering the last name. Muse. I might be butchering the last name, but that's
wow. She was
we have
good.
a couple of videos from her. Yeah, you know what? We have a few videos that we play. I like hers because they're a little longer, but they're very good. She's great.
Yeah, she's a really talented singer. Wow, I was very impressed.
So I'm gonna ask you this because I was curious. I found this a little while ago in my surfing of the cigar interwebs, right? And it popped up. I never ordered it. And then, I wanted when we got you on, I was like, you know what? I want something that I haven't had that a lot of people may not know about. And I went on Atlantic and I bought I don't know if you could see how yellow that is.
Oh yeah, wow.
The barber pole, the Hombre Libre.
Hombre Libre barber pole. Yeah, that's a great cigar.
So
yeah.
How did that come about for them?
So they wanted to do something.
Are they the only ones you guys make the exclusives for, or do you make it for other people as well?
That particular one is only for them. I mean, we do exclusives for different companies, but that, generally when we do something for one company, that's the only company we do it for. So they do very well with our Lunatic line. They sell a lot of our cigars in general, and they wanted to do something special. And they wanted a Toro size, and it's like, well, we have a Toro, Maduro, we have a Toro Habano. I mean, like, what else do you want to kind of do? And they're like, well, why don't we combine them and make a barber pole of it? And to be honest with you, I'm generally against barber poles. It's just kind of like they look neat, but they usually don't. To me, they don't taste that great.
Right.
But I, again, we're for the here to support the customer, and so we said, what the hell, we'll try it out, and it worked really well. The flavor was there and looked great and tasted really great. So that's an exclusive that we produce for them.
I will say we bought them and I paid the $10 to have it overnight shipped because I couldn't wait for.
You're a good man. You're a great American.
I wanted to try it. I couldn't wait long enough. They came in. I did a little video of what they were, and then immediately opened one.
Well,
right up the truck.
I opened one. He opened one too. But as soon as they came in, I did a little video of what they were, and then cellophane came off. I took my picture. I cut the cap, and I said, "Okay, now I'm going to sit back and relax." And I mean, like you said, the flavors are there. It's a great barber pole. It really is. And
it's and again, like I said, I usually don't. Barber poles to me a lot of times just have kind of like muddled, weird flavor. It's like they just thought it was. It's like I like lobster and I like chocolate cake. Let's put them together or something, and it's like it doesn't really work. Right. But this one did. So I can't take no credit for it. It was their idea.
Now, was it a blend you guys already had, or did you guys blend the binders and fillers for them as well?
It's the Hombre Libre Habano cigar, and then we did the barber pole where we added the Maduro wrap to it. So the blend exists as the Hombre Libre Habano. If you ever want a comparison, just get the Hombre Libre Habano because it's the exact same cigar, except that there's just the Habano wrapper, not the Maduro wrapper.
Okay, and now how did you guys come up with the name for that?
Like with Lunatic, we kind of use different things that kind of like we have, a line of Lunatic called the Torch, where the sizes are like.
I love that cigar.
Dreamlands and that kind of stuff, and then we have Visionary, and then Hombre Libre, like a free man. You're kind of like you do what you want, and you're kind of people consider you crazy if you don't fall into line. So it's just kind of based on the theme of the Lunatic.
No, I mean, listen, this is everything you could ask for in a barber pole, between the tastes and the aromas and stuff like that. It's pretty much exactly what you would look for in a good barber pole or a great barber pole, because like you said, there's not a lot out there that are done properly. Cool. And and then you go from something like this to your 880 or now the 10 by 100. you know, and I've noticed with you guys and the JFR line and then the Lunatic line, even your bigger ring gauge cigars have the flavors. They're blended properly. They're not thrown together and made to a big ring gauge so that you can put it on the market. There's actually, you know, the time taken to blend them and make them taste the way you want them.
So thank you for saying that, because that is exactly what we do. And I'm, you know, again, it means more coming from you than when I say it. The big knock on big ring gauge originally was back when they first started to get popular. A lot of manufacturers, I think, kind of were like, these crazy gringos don't know, you know, this is a gimmick. And so they would just pack the cigars with like Seco tobaccos, which are good for burning, you know, but they don't add a lot of the flavor and complexity to the blend. And they were thrown in there kind of willy-nilly. And we blend our large ring gauges to the size. And again, for me, I'm still more of a, you know, I like between, you know, about a 56 is generally as high as I usually enjoy smoking. But some of our cigars, like the El Chiquito 4 3/4 by 70 Habano.
Oh, that's so good. That's another good one too.
Yeah, I think it's the taste wise, it's the best tasting one in the line, even though it's a size that I'm not, because we blend to that size. And big ring gauge cigars burn cooler. You can really create very complex blends if you put the effort into it. And so I'm glad that you said that, because that's always the knock on big ring gauge. Well, I'm not going to enjoy it as much because it's not going to have as much flavor. Well, in our case, that's not true.
Right. No, and that's the other thing is, you know, I've told a lot of people over the years, I'm like, if you want, you know, good blended big ring gauge cigars, I'm like, usually the JFRs or the Lunatics are the way to go, because, you know, I'm like, there's that flavor is always there. You know, I'm like, it's always there. You're not, like you said, I'm like, it doesn't leave a terrible aftertaste. I'm like, it's everything you could ask for. And I usually tell them the Torch or the El Chiquito. I'm like, if you want to start with something, start with those sizes, because those are, you know, or those brands. I said, because those are the sizes that I always go to. Like I think what is it, the 5x60 or 4x60, the Torch.
Yeah.
That one, and then the El Chiquito, because again, they're, for the price, you can't really go wrong, because you're getting a big ring gauge cigar, but you're paying like $10, $12 at most, where most big ring gauges are $16, $17, $18, depending on where you are.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. We're going to provide a great value, which of great value is you get it at a good price and you have something that's high quality. And that's what we're aiming for. There's lots of great cigars on the market, you know, like you can pick a lot of good cigars, but to get the combination of quality at a good price, I'd say we're very hard to beat in that regard.
So I've always wondered this, what does JFR actually stand for?
So it stands for just for retail, because originally when it came out, and this is still pretty much true, at least of the original JFR line.
Interesting.
20 years ago, in like 2005, when it, you know, 21 years ago now, when it first came out, there was basically two types of accounts. There was brick and mortar stores, and then there was like online retailers, and they were separate. Like the online people didn't have a store, and the brick and mortars didn't have online. And so we wanted to provide something for the brick and mortar retailer as an exclusive. And to this day, the regular JFR line is still it's still really a cigar for brick and mortar. It comes in a 50 count box. It's got it's on cellophane, so it's not really a great like online item. However, as time goes on, a lot of stores have an online presence. So if you restricted it only to people that don't have any online presence, you'd have like 10% of the people out there basically. Right. So we do allow, if you know, as long you have to have a brick and mortar store to sell JFR, but people do sell them online, you know, because they have that in their store or whatever it is. But it's a brick and mortar cigar. It's a cigar that is really ideal for in-store sales.
No, that's pretty cool. I've always wondered, you know, what that actually stood for, because I'm like, you know, I've always wondered. I've never asked anybody. I'm like, I just assumed there was a meaning behind it, or there was, you know, those were just three letters that somebody picked, maybe that represented the company or started the line. Because I know that's a thing too as well, that some companies do. They take like the person's initials to who started the line.
Yeah, CLE, JRE.
Yeah. So now, you know, let me ask this, because I smoked this cigar and it actually blew me away, as far as, because I didn't know at the time you guys had made it. I just thought it was a regular Gurkha cigar, and that's the San Miguel.
Yeah, San Miguel. We made the San Miguel for Gurkha. Yes.
So I didn't know that. I thought it was Gurkha, and then somebody again was like, "Oh no, Aganorsa makes that for them." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I tried it, and I was like, I was like, you know what? I'm like, I could get behind this one because, again, for a lighter cigar, it was everything you could ask for. It had the flavors, it had the burn. That's when I enjoy. When I get my hands on it, I love it.
One of the things that people I think have a hard time realizing, is the general public. It's kind of, I always say it's kind of like bourbon, for instance. It's like there's all different types of bourbon, but there's probably like 6 or 7 distilleries that are doing like a lot of the bourbon that's overall out there.
Right.
And they're because to have a cigar brand, I mean, if you have a couple of chocolate bunny heads and some cigar bands, you could potentially create a brand. The very tricky thing about this industry is that the entry level in is not too high, but the success to be successful is very high. So like for instance, if you wanted to start like a bourbon company or something like that, I mean, it takes a lot more capital investment and all sorts of things to kind of get involved in something like that. Whereas the cigar industry, it's not really as high to get in. But it's one thing to have, a brand. It's another thing to have a factory, which is, in a country that you're probably not from, that has hundreds of employees, and then farms where you have thousands of employees and growing the tobacco and having the technical know how to do all that kind of stuff. That's a much different ball of wax. And that's why, so many companies use tobacco from people like ourselves or make cigars with us or people like Plasencia or AJ Fernandez or lots of great companies out there. And again, that doesn't take anything away. There's a lot of benefits to just being a brand owner. You can kind of be a little bit more selective in the type of audience that you want to appeal to. And there's definitely benefits to both, but certainly the benefit for our side is that we control the whole process. We're growing the tobacco, we're curing it, fermenting it, aging it, rolling it, and distributing it in the United States. So we have a lot more control over what comes out, and we were able to do that at a better price point.
Right. No, and you guys, again, over the years, I've learned that you, like you said, you make a lot of cigars for a lot of different companies. Like I know you guys deal a lot with Warp Cigars as well.
Yep, great partner of ours.
And then you did, which I didn't know. I don't know. I noticed they have their own factory as well, which is I think it's Isla de Crocodile or something like that.
So that's so they make cigars also with, actually that's my cousin.
Okay.
That's made in DR with La Isla, Tabacalera La Isla, which is Osos Fernandez. He's actually a cousin of mine. So that's made over there. That's a different thing. But like the Corto, the what's it called? The Flor de Valle.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff from Warped is made by us.
That's pretty interesting. And I think a lot of people give that, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about Warped, about the brand Warped. And I'm like, well, I've smoked a few, like the ones you mentioned. I'm like, I've smoked. I thought they were good. I'm like, again, it depends on the price point. It depends on what you're willing to spend for a cigar.
And also keep in mind, like, for instance, he makes cigars with us. He makes cigars with Titan de Bronze in Miami, and he makes cigars with my cousin, Dominican Republic. I mean, there's pros and cons to these things. So, for instance, like with Aganorsa, what I always say is Aganorsa is a little bit like a bourbon bar or a whiskey bar. Like there's all different types of whiskeys, there's all different types of bourbons. But if I have a bottle of bourbon that you've never had before, and I say, hey, want to try this? You know what you're getting into. It's going to taste like bourbon. It's not going to taste like vodka or gin or something. It's going to taste like, and so the pro to that is if you like our style, you're pretty comfortable trying almost anything from us because you'll like some more than others, but it's always going to be Aganorsa. When you use different factories, the pro to that is that just you can create a more diverse range of styles like a regular bar. But just because you like one doesn't mean you'll necessarily like another. So there's pros and cons to both. When you're using, if you're a company utilizing multiple factories, you're able to kind of appeal to different segments of the market. But the downside, of course, is that just because they like one, they won't like another. And for us, people have the comfort of knowing what they're getting into anytime they have an Aganorsa cigar. But if they're in the mood for vodka or gin, we don't have that. So so there's pros and cons to both.
No, and I've also tried the Aganorsa brand as well with the I believe it's the La Validacion is the line with the Connecticut, the Corojo, the Habano. You gotta
validate. You gotta validate.
Yep, I've smoked. I don't think I've smoked the whole line, but I've smoked quite a few of them.
Yeah, I have a couple of those.
And those are
patches.
Those are very good because you make a lot for other people, but it's always nice when somebody's looking for something. You could say, "Oh, this is Aganorsa. This is their brand." Well, who are they? They make the JFR. They make this. They make that, and then somebody's more inclined to try it because they've already probably had a bunch of stuff you guys have made.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's the benefit. Oh, it's Aganorsa. Yeah, I like Aganorsa. Let me try that. Whereas if you use a whole bunch of different factories, well, I really love this one, and this one wasn't so much my style, and then you're a little bit more hesitant to try something if it's not consistent in terms of what the experience is. But like I said, there's pros and cons to both of those things. Sometimes you can't get one, you can't get them with one. You've got another. You can try to turn the person onto the brand with. Whereas with us, if you don't like our style, we actually do a fuma tasting. Maybe one of these days we can do this together where you try our Corojo 99 from Jalapa, just a single leaf, and our Criollo 98 from Esteli. And then we have you smoke those separately and then together, kind of like a Cheech and Chong style. And then that's our signature flavor. Those two tobaccos from those two regions are in all our blends. Every single cigar you taste, like every cake has sugar and butter. Every Aganorsa has those two tobaccos. And what I always say when we do those events is like, if you don't like this taste, don't buy our cigars because they're all going to have this backbone to them, But if you do like it, we're the only ones that have that style, and you're going to have to come to us. So that's kind of the way we present it.
Now, I know you guys do the cigar called the Arsenio as well.
Yes.
So what is? I've seen it. I haven't smoked it.
So Arsenio
myself
was the guy. Arsenio Ramos was the most important of that group of Cubans that we took from Nicaragua and from Cuba when Eduardo started the business in the mid '90s. And basically, he was in charge of all leaf processing in Pinar del Rio, Cuba. So he was really a master of tobacco. And the signature flavor Aganorsa has is from him. He spent the last 20 years of his life working for us. The seeds we grow, how we grow them, how we process them, how we cure and ferment, and all that stuff is due to him. And so he created Aganorsa's signature flavor. He passed away in 2018. And so we decided to release the cigar that he smoked. That was a blend he smoked, like it didn't have bands on it or anything. It was just a blend that like he would smoke, and he liked it in a Corona size. But we released it in a Corona and also in a Robusto and a Toro. So with that cigar, you get to taste what a guy that had been smoking for over half a century and been in tobacco, cultivating tobacco and developing tobacco for flavor and aroma, what he thought a cigar should taste like. And so
I was going to say, it gives you a little insight into what a blender like himself, like you said, liked and enjoyed and blended cigars for.
Exactly. That was his personal blend. It just didn't have any bands or anything. He just had them rolled up and he would be smoking them all the time.
That's awesome.
It was something special, and I always highly recommend. It's a great cigar to retrohale. If you don't retrohale, I can just contact me. I'll be happy to teach you. But it's a great, if you retrohale a cigar, that definitely adds a lot to that cigar.
Now I'm just a guest on here. I'm a normal on the Discord with them, busting each other's chops on a regular basis. But you and I exchanged emails maybe 2024. I was a member of the Cigar Dudes podcast.
Oh yeah.
And I ditched the podcast to hang out with David Blanco that night, and I think we actually.
That's right. Yeah. I think you came on the feed, at one point. Yeah.
I caught lots of flack, and then Dave slept on my couch 2 different nights, and then I caught all kinds of flack off of that.
He's a nice guy. I don't blame you.
He's a pistol.
Yeah.
But long
no,
with your
Dave's
cigars.
awesome. We had Dave on here a year or so ago.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he was
Along with your cigars.
interesting to have on here. Knew a lot too, just like yourself. It blew my mind the stuff I learned.
Yeah, I've known Dave for as long as I can remember being in the business. He's a hard worker.
When Dave came on, we were asking him a lot of questions, and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "but it's not Placencia." He goes, "It's not Placencia." He goes, "It's a great cigar, but it's not Placencia." Well, that's what everybody says. Everybody comes on and says it's not this one, it's not that. Our thing is that we're not on here to just promote you. We're on here to promote everybody we have on, everybody that comes on.
The Cigar Apostle said the Arsenio is a good cigar.
He's a great American. Thank you.
Now that I know the backstory behind it, the next time I see it, I'm gonna have to pick it up I might have to pick it up in that, like you said, that Corona size that he enjoyed.
Yeah, it's great.
Smoke it and see what kind of, like you said, his insights into cigars were.
And to learn more about it, you can we have a video on him. We have a YouTube channel, Aganorsa YouTube, where you can see videos about him, videos about our other Cuban agronomists that we have. We got a guy, Changuito Gomez, up in Jalapa. He's almost 90 now. He's got like a 15-year-old son. He says Aganorsa tobacco keeps him young. So I don't know. I mean, that's all I can tell you. But
does he still walk? Like, is he still walking regular, or does he
walk
with it?
Really? No, he's still out in the fields every day. Yeah, he's you see there's videos on him on there. There's all sorts of stuff. So, but you get if you're interested in to anyone listening or to any of you that Aganorsa Leaf YouTube, you get to see our farms, fields, the history of the people that are involved in our company and have made it what it is. It's a really great opportunity to. I can't do it justice just talking about it. It's another thing to see it.
So now, are you the CEO or are you the?
I'm VP of Sales and Marketing. The only title that matters in a company is owner, and it's not me. So, but I've had the pleasure of working with Eduardo for almost a decade now, and it's been a good experience for sure.
Your social media content is fantastic.
Thank you. And you're the one watching. I knew somebody was.
I love watching you and Tim Swanson go back and forth, especially about the jacket.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that
jacket had me crying. I was laughing.
I seen so many tattoos or fake tattoos of the jacket, and people had them on every parts of their body.
Yeah. Some of them I didn't want to see, to be honest with you. But but yeah, and that's what we're always looking. I think one of the things that I really try to do is we want to have fun. We're not. This is not brain surgery. This is not rocket science. There's a beauty to it. There's an art to it. But at the same time, I want to make sure that whether you attend an event or you listen to a podcast or whatever, that it's fun. Now you have a fun time, and it's good to have people that you can work with that kind of get that and understand. And there's a lot of them out there. Tim is definitely one of them who understands that. A lot of what people want out of an experience. Again, to smoke cigars, you can go click a button. They can be at your house in a day, like the Hombre Libre barber pole was. You could sit out in your, back in your garage or wherever it is, your smoking cave or whatever. And you don't need to go to a store, or you don't need to kind of interact with us to enjoy a cigar necessarily. But I think if you provide a fun time, you get people to laugh, you can create that connection and that camaraderie. That is the benefit of that experience. And so that's what we really try to provide. If you come to an Aganorsa experience event, or you listen to us, when we're on a podcast or a show or whatever it is, I think that's really important.
No, it's definitely true because I love smoking at home. I do, especially now that I have. We moved into this new house, and the person we're renting from, kind of basically said no smoking inside, but in the mud room, or the all season room, depending on where you are, you guys can, have at it and smoke all you want in there. So,
yeah,
I love it. But, sometimes I'm like, do I really want to go to a lounge? Sometimes I don't. But then I get there and it's like you said, it's the experience. It's the camaraderie. It's the laughing, the joking,
Yeah, that's why you go.
Cigars with this person or that person. This person might say, "Hey, try this. This is new." this is, even some people might be like, hey, this is my cigar. Let me know. Like, you find new things when you go out to these lounges and you make new friends and, you meet new people that you may have never met before.
Yeah, that's the whole. And again, I think the stores and the places and the people that are embracing that understanding are the ones that are successful. If you just have a store and and the person walks in and there's a group in the corner that won't talk to you because they haven't met you before, or they don't help you out in the humidor, don't offer, don't try to make you feel welcome. To me, that there's no future in that. People can stay at home, and get a cigar. If you want them to, get out of their house and freezing cold and go and try to find parking and go in the shop and all that kind of stuff, you've got to really offer hospitality, and you have to offer a great experience. And if you're doing that, people will show up. People want that. That's what that's the value in going out.
Of course. Now let me ask you this, because I always find this interesting. A lot of places during COVID were doing drive-up events or outside events only. How did COVID affect maybe your events business, if at all?
Yeah, so COVID really, we started doing a lot of virtual events. So we would get groups, we would get Zoom meetings, we would get whereby meetings, we would get these things, and a store would get their guys to purchase like some sort of a packet. And again, that's the beauty of our Aganorsa experience. If you can check out videos of what that's like online. In fact, our first YouTube video is kind of the breakdown of the Aganorsa experience. You get to enjoy our fumas of individual components of tobacco, see how they combine, see how they create the backbone of our flavor, and then smoke a cigar and see how that shows up in the blends in different ways. And that we were able to do through Zoom, meetings and things like that. And we still do that sometimes. I got one at the end of the month, actually. So it's still a value. Now that COVID is basically over, there are people that want to go back to a store, but I'll be honest with you, it's harder than it used to be. What I was just talking about providing an experience, that's 100 times more important now than it was. It was always important, but prior to COVID, it was less important because a lot of people, especially cigar guys, a lot of them are a little bit older. They're not necessarily tech savvy, and they're not Zoom meetings and stuff. That just seemed like something that wasn't what they did. But then when you force them to sit at home for a year, they're like, well, let's see how this whole social media online thing works, and they would jump on there. So there's definitely a residue of that where people are like, oh man, I can get online with a bunch of friends from the comfort of my home. I can get online and attend an event. So there's still some people that want to do it that way, and so we do virtual events. And then obviously we've gone back. We just had a great one in Ohio the other night with a shop out there. That had 40 plus people attended, huge event. So it still happens, and we still do it, and it's still good, but we it can't be just you show up and the guy goes, hey, if you buy 4, I'll give you one for free, and that kind of stuff. That doesn't get anybody to show up anymore. It's really they got to be getting something out of it that they couldn't get at home.
Right. And now that you're talking about the Aganorsa experience, I think when we went to a big event in Pennsylvania a few years ago for I think it was called Smoker Zone. They did a big Black Friday thing, and one of the guys there, I guess, was a broker for
Mike King.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah.
So Mike actually gave us the Aganorsa experience. When we became friends with him that day, we were talking. He goes, listen, like you said, try this, smoke them together, and then he took the actual cigar. He goes, here, now take this cigar and smoke the cigar, and let me know what you guys think. And to do, like you said, to do that experience and then smoke the full cigar was interesting.
Yeah, it gives you a whole sense of I always say, we all listen to music our whole lives. We listen to music, we like music, but at least I don't know what B flat sounds like. But if somebody hammers it on the piano for me over and over again, you kind of start to hear it in the music. And so with the Fuma tasting, it really gives you an opportunity to isolate the flavors and isolate what you like on your palate and what's more towards your preference level, and understand your palate a little better. And so that's been a huge benefit for us, because ours is a simple version. We're not the only people that do that. Other people do that, but ours is simple enough that even if you're not a big time cigar aficionado, you're able to appreciate and say, oh man, okay, I taste the Corojo 99, it's got some spice and it makes me salivate, and it's got a easy finish. And this other Criollo 98, it's earthier, it's grittier, it's got some salt. And then, I really like the Corojo a little bit more. Well, here, try this blend. It's got more Corojo than Criollo in it. And they're like, oh, okay,
right.
yeah.
No, that was an interesting experience. That was the first time we've ever done that. And, as we did it, we both kind of looked at each other and was like, well, this is different. And I said it to Mike. I'm like, dude, this is something here that nobody at the time, I don't believe, was doing. And I was like, this is something that you don't see very often. I'm like, this definitely changes the experience of the cigar. And like I told my dad that day, I'm like, that made me enjoy the Aganorsa product just a little bit more because I was able to smoke the fumas and kind of put everything together and then go, oh, wow, like, this is there. You can pick out like you said, the notes and the flavors and what each one does to your palate. And then you go smoke the full thing and you start being able to pick a little bit out here and there.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better than myself. That's exactly what the purpose of it is. You're reading the script well today. I don't know if somebody gave you notes, but you're well done.
No, so it's funny because I started smoking. I'm going to be 28. I've been smoking almost 10 years now. 9 years and we'll say 10 months I've been smoking. And being a young guy at the time, being 18, smoking with people who were always older than me, I had to, as I call it, learn to be able to have conversations about cigars or be able to, because the guys that I smoked with at the time were, oh, you don't know anything, don't say anything, just sit there and smoke your cigar. And, it was a joke, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but you're supposed to be teaching me about the cigars, being that you've been smoking a lot longer than I have. So I used to have to do the research online about what I was smoking in order to be able to, as I call it, defend myself against people like that.
Correct.
Where they go, oh, well, this, I'm like, no, actually, this was this. And no, it's not. I said, because, there were times I would do that. And they're like, that's not what it is. I'm like, oh, really? And I would pull it up on Google. I'm like, here's exactly what it is. And I would turn around and do the same thing and be like, now you sit there, be quiet, and smoke your cigar and leave me alone.
So, guys, listen, I'm going inside because I need to get some rest. I'm kind of wiped
All right.
out. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for coming on, brother. Be well. I will talk to you soon.
Take care, brother.
So I'll still be here. It's okay.
That was kind of how I came about being on there because the big dog was having some things going on.
Yeah, he had some stuff happen over the last week, so I wasn't sure if he'd be home today. So I had recruited Maddie as a guest host, being that he had already done podcasts, and
he owed me after that whole.
I owed you, yes. I had to pass. I couldn't pass it up because it was full circle. Kind of.
He said, he goes, Terrence was supposed to be on the Cigar Dudes, and I was busy that night. So it works out that I come on. I'm like, listen, come on. If you got questions, ask them questions. I'm like, I'm here to talk. I said, but you're just as much as a host as I am. Because originally this show started out, Terrence, with 3 people. There was 3 of us. It was me, my dad, and another guy. He stepped away because of, family issues. I tell everybody there's no hard feelings. He's always got an open spot if he wants to come back. And then we've been doing it by ourselves, and we've had guest hosts here and there pop on. So, when I asked him and he jumped at the opportunity, I was like, absolutely. I was like, come on, hang out with us, and ask away, because like you said, he missed your episode. So now he gets a chance to be here.
Yeah.
Tell me about
I'll let you go, Maddie.
I love this mixed filler. Tell me about the new Cubas.
Yeah,
the new one that's out, right?
The Superior or the original?
Well, both of them.
So the original New Cuba is again, I don't even know how we charge so little for these things. So I don't even want to know, because if I ever get deposed,
pennies.
Yeah. I can claim ignorance. But it's the original New Cuba. It's what's called a Cuban sandwich. So you have some long filler in there to hold the ash, and then it's a short filler is the rest of it. But it's short filler that goes. It's a blend. It's not like we just wipe up the scraps and throw it in cigars. There's actually a blend of certain tobacco that we use in it, and I say that it's the best cigar that you're ever, you want to smoke a lot of cigars every day, you're really on a budget, or you're cutting lawns, you're doing stuff where if God forbid the cigar drops or something like that, you're not like, oh man, I just blew $17, right there, or $20 or whatever. And they're just great smokes that I like the new Cuba Connecticut in the morning with coffee. I'll have one once in a while with that, just nice and easy cigars. Again, going to that value principle of like we know how much the dollar counts to people. They have bills, they have things that they have to pay for. Cigars are a luxury, so let's give them a great product at a great price. And then the new Cuba Superior is an interesting story because that's actually a long filler. And it's got the sweetened cap, so it's got the sweet cap. And the reason that came about is that Fabian Ziegler, who works with us, he was of Drew Estate for 20 years, great guy, and he was really involved in the development of some of the flavored stuff, the Deadwood series, and he was the big brand promoter for acid and everything.
Cigars, by the way, those Deadwoods are awesome.
Yeah, great sellers, incredible, and so he was like we need a cigar that has a little bit of sweetness to it. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for that. Newer smokers, people that are kind of transitioning out of a groovy blue, which is he always says that the new Cuba Superior can be either your first cigar or a transition from the very, very flavored like Javas and things where you want to go kind of more traditional, but you don't want to make the full jump. So it gives you kind of like a transition into that. It's got that sweet tip, so it's going to be sweet when you start off. It's light, it's smooth, it's creamy, and then that sweetness kind of fades after the first inch or so, and then you just get a nice light cigar. And so it's been a great hit for us with people that again they like cigars, but they're not like want anything heavy,
right.
And they also don't want to have something that's everybody across the room knows that they're smoking a flavor or something like that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is somebody's pretty much their go-to cigar, their daily smoke. Within Aganorsa, right?
Yeah. For certainly, like I always say, like if you buy one $10 cigar a day, that's almost $4,000 a year. That's that's a big chunk for a lot of people, for me. And so if we can get you some cigars where you can have a couple throughout the day and not get divorced over it or whatever, that I think that's a benefit. So that's the idea, is that you can have new Cubas, pretty regularly, and not have to refinance your house.
I had smoked one a while ago. It's been a few years since I've had one, but again, somebody had told me they were AJ's, and then
no, it's us. Yeah. One of the reasons, so the company when I joined was called Casa Fernandez. The farms was called Aganorsa Leaf, the farm, but right. the company in the U.S. was called Casa Fernandez, and I changed that right away with obviously approval
right.
because it was just very confusing. Fernandez is like Smith with Latin people. I mean, there's a gazillion of them, and there's a lot of Casas, there's a lot of Fernandezes. So AJ Fernandez, Casa Cuba, Casa Cuevas, Casa, So like people would be like, oh, I love this cigar, I love AJ cigars, or they'd be like, oh, I love your New World or whatever, and it was like, no, right. That's AJ, or that's us, that's not AJ. And so we wanted to really put the focus on the tobacco itself. What we say is our leaf is our strength. That's where the logo comes from. They used my arm. That's why it's so anemic looking. They should have used somebody else. But that's what we wanted to put the focus on for the company was the actual signature flavor that Aganorsa has, and not be about an individual or a lifestyle or anything like that.
No, like I said, it's been a long time since I've had it, but when I remember smoking it and saying to myself, like you said, for a budget cigar, that's a tough one to beat for a budget cigar.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the whole goal, is like lots of great cigars, but when it comes to getting a great value, we're hard to beat.
Yeah, I smoked a Opus X last night that was given to me. It's a $40 cigar. It was fantastic, but I'd almost rather spend $40 on a bundle of new Cuba from Cigar Bed than buy the Opus X again, personally.
Well, you'll be smoking a lot more cigars with
yeah, I will
for the same price.
Absolutely. And it's crazy when and I tell people that too a lot. When they smoke expensive cigars, I'm like, I could give you, they're like, oh, I don't know what the difference is. I'm like, if I take the labels off and hand you 2 cigars, I said 9 times out of 10, you're never going to pick out which one's the more expensive cigar.
So we used to do that with New Cuba. We used to take the band off and say, hey, this is a cigar that we're thinking about coming out with. What do you think the price should be? And we would get like $10, $12. And, you know, you can get them for $2 to $3, you know? And so like people would be like, what, how much is it? You know?
Right.
And that was a huge selling point for it, because when you take away, you know, the perception that, oh, it's in a bundle, it can't be that good. Well, you know, if you have an open mind, you have the opportunity to smoke some great stuff and save a few bucks.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people too. I'm like, you know, the once in a while $30, $40 cigars are nice.
Yeah,
like,
special occasion, sure.
You got to find those sweet spots of like a JFR or the Lunatic line or the New Cubas or even the regular, you know, validation line of Aganorsa. You know, I'm like, because they're not going to break the bank. I said, but you're getting in my opinion, depending on what expensive cigars you get, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. You're getting the taste, you're getting the aromas, you're getting the smoke time, where you buy some of these $30, $40 cigars and there's no taste, no taste as far as like, you're not getting the spiciness or this, you're getting a lot more of aroma than you are anything else.
Yeah, and what I always say, like we even have our Anniversario line, which is our the tobaccos are aged 5 years.
Yes.
But even those, they're the MSRP is under 20, and in New York, or they're going to be in the 25 plus range probably. But again, that's a cigar that, like, one, it can be a special occasion cigar. You're going to a wedding, you're celebrating something nice. And instead of paying $40 or $50, you're paying, somewhere between 15 to 25.
Exactly. So you're still getting a great cigar.
You're still getting a great. And people want a great value. If you're buying a luxury car, you want the best value. You don't want to be like, I'd really like to overpay for my luxury car by $20,000. Nobody says that.
Right.
Like they want a certain level of experience that for whatever they're paying for it, they feel is worthwhile. And or they're getting more than what they're paying for, and so that's what we try to provide at all price levels, whether it's the New Cuba or whether it's the Anniversario line.
So now let me ask you this, because I've always wondered, your Supreme Leaf and your Rare Leaf, what is the difference in those, and how did you guys come up with those?
So I'll talk about the blends, and I'll talk about like how they came about it. So I'll start with Supreme Leaf. Supreme Leaf is very Corojo 99 dominant. It's got more of our Corojo 99 from Jalapa. You'll taste more of that in the blend. That cigar came about actually because Privada Cigars, we had been doing some projects for him back in 2018, 2019. And he came to us and he said, listen, you guys have great blends. At the time, we hadn't repackaged a lot of the stuff that we've done since then. He's like, but you have kind of a traditional look with that Casa Fernandez. It kind of looks like a cigar that's, that's more reminiscent of an old style brand. And you guys, I think if we take one of you, if we can put together a great blend and package it with more vibrant colors, different colors than you're used to seeing on a cigar, I think it'll be really popular. And it's successful. We come out with one size. It's always a different size, once or twice a year. So we come out with it, it ships, and then the next time we release it, it's a different size. And so we've had about 10 different sizes. And part of the fun is, some people like one size is their favorite. It's always the same blend, but again, when you make a 6x56 compared to box press compared to a round 4x48 or something like that, you're going to get different flavors. And so that's part of the fun of that cigar. And it's always, I'd say it's our most sought after cigar. When we come out with it, they sell out almost immediately.
I've witnessed it.
And then on the Rare Leaf side, one of the things that we kind of worked on was with the limited edition. The downside is this. So with the limited edition, what you're able to do is you're able to use tobaccos that you couldn't necessarily utilize on a larger scale, because you'd have to dilute them or you wouldn't have enough, so you're able to concentrate those tobaccos and create a specific flavor and really create a unique experience, right? But the downside is this is for the customer tries it, he really likes it, he goes back in the store and goes, I really love that cigar, I'd like to get some more. And the guy goes, oh, well, it's out. And then he's either upset because he wanted to buy more, or he starts looking to other stores to find it, which the retailer doesn't usually appreciate that. And so that's the downside to it. Or you make more and you start to dilute the blend, and people say, oh, it doesn't taste the same anymore, right? I mean, it doesn't, because you've diluted the blend. So that's the downside of a limited edition. So what we did with Rare Leaf is we use those tobaccos that we don't have large supplies of, but rather than make a run and that's it, we limit who we sell them to. We have a program called the Aganorsa Select Partner Program, where people that are in that program have access to the Rare Leaf, and that's only about 10-15% of our total customer base. And so by limiting who gets it, we can make it all year round in limited quantities. So if they do sell it, they can provide it again and again to their customers,
because you're not diluting the blend, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's and Rare Leaf is much more Criollo 98 dominant. In fact, I'm smoking the Maduro. The Maduro is my favorite cigar that we make. I love this blend. It just got #2 cigar of the year by Cigar Snob. It's just an outstanding blend. And again, if you like it and you have a nearby Aganorsa Select Partner, or you find an Aganorsa Select Partner online, you can buy it, and you can buy it again and again and again without having to worry about it.
So to find that, they can go to your website and look that up, right?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, you go to store locator, and then you scroll down, and there's a list of every state, who the select partners are in that state. And so those accounts either carry or have access to Rare Leaf. So they either have it and you could go there and get it, or if they didn't, you could say, hey, could you get me a box of this, and they could order it from us.
Okay. No, that's good to know, because obviously a lot of people put it on their website, but sometimes I know websites sometimes fall by the wayside and they don't update them constantly and stuff like that. So that's why I always, when somebody like you guys who has it, and like you said, has the option where you can look at the select partners, and then you can look at just whoever sells Aganorsa, correct?
Yeah, you could also just put in your zip code, and it would bring up Aganorsa, stores nearby. The only issue with that is that, like, it doesn't tell you what they carry. They could necessarily carry like 3 cigars from us, because it doesn't show you what they carry. With the select partner list, that they have like a good variety of our cigars, because to be a partner in that, you have to carry a certain amount of stuff from us.
Let me ask you a personal question. How many pairs of khakis do you own?
I'm not going to tell you an exact number, but it's quite a lot. So I'll tell you how the khakis came about. Is that, like, again, I'm originally from Massachusetts. I grew up there. My father's from Miami. Like I said, he's part of, he's got family in the business and everything. But my mom's from Mass, and when they got married, they moved back to Massachusetts, because in the 1970s, Miami was kind of a nutty place. I don't know if they wanted to raise a child down there. So they went back to Mass, and I grew up there. And for me, growing up, like, unless you were like a plumber or you did some sort of manual labor thing, everybody was in a suit all the time, right? Like you had a job and you would wear a suit. And so when I started in the business, I was young and I looked young. And so I was in a suit, and I would go to a lot of places in the country, and I kind of created a disconnect with a lot. I'd be at a store in the Midwest, and I remember, I'll never forget this. I said, oh, we've got a great bundle cigar. It's got a great price. And the guy goes, yeah, a great price for a guy wearing Ferragamo shoes. And I'll never forget, that kind of struck me. It's like, the guy was like, look at this guy. How does he know what a good, some young kid in all decked out in an expensive suit or whatever. So that kind of struck me. And then again, you don't want to look like you're homeless when you go into it. You're in a business. So the khakis and polo look is just dressed enough where you look professional, but you don't look like, you're putting on airs, or you don't come across as, hoity-toity, or that, you can't relate to, a lot of mom and pop stores throughout the country are blue collar places where they're hardworking people, and they don't wear suits, and somebody comes in a suit, they're kind of like, who is this, jerk, or not that they think it's a jerk, but that they don't necessarily feel they'll relate to this person, or that this person can't relate to them. So the khakis and polo is, I'm there. I'm obviously not homeless, and then but also I'm not presenting myself in a way that would maybe turn them off from my ability to connect with them.
Absolutely. I think if I went to an event that you were at and you came in jeans, I think I would be disappointed.
I, I wear jeans very rarely, and for work almost never. It's very rare. Occasionally there's something or other where that comes up, but it's kind of like a unicorn if you catch me with jeans on.
No, and like you said, when I worked for a company, I would go. They sent me polo shirts. I wore the polo shirts and a pair of jeans because that's normally what I would wear anyway.
Yeah.
And obviously depending on the weather, sometimes I would have on a nice pair of shorts or whatever. But I wanted them to be able to relate to me, like you said.
Yeah,
I didn't want to show up in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah,
and be like, "Oh, I'm here to sell you cigars," because then it's like, "Well, who's this guy?"
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it kind of creates a discount. The only places I still will often wear a suit is the Northeast. A lot of places in the Northeast still, especially if you're like in New York City or parts of Boston, or and then Chicago too is very kind of still people. And again, they don't feel it's like putting on. They just feel that's how you should look if you're working like that. So there's a few places where I still there's a store out in Arizona. Ambassador Cigars. The owner, I saw him at the beach once in a suit. I mean, I think he sleeps in a suit. So like when I go there, I'm usually a bit more dressed up out of respect for him. And so again, it just you don't want that to hold up what can be a good relationship, or prevent a good relationship from developing. So the khakis and the polo has served me well. So what do you guys have planned for this year, if you can disclose anything, like what projects? I know obviously the Supreme Leaf is I'm sure coming out again this year, as well as another Rare Leaf, I would assume. Yeah, so not a new Rare Leaf, because Rare Leaf, but we kind of keep the sizes the same. We haven't really released anything new sizes in Rare Leaf, but yeah, new Supreme Leaf size is a 109 head. Around a 109 is like if a Toro and a Torpedo had a baby. It's like slightly tapered. It's not as tapered as a Torpedo, but it's a little bit pointier than a Toro. And it's a classic Cuban size. That will be the next size that lands in February. We'll also have because we've done now 10 sizes of Supreme Leaf. We're gonna have a Supreme Leaf sampler come out that has one of each size at the at the PCA. That'll be cool. We're gonna have a tubo. We're trying to, at this point, we've done a lot of new brands and rebrands over the last few years. And at this point, what we really want to do is build what we have, to the people out there. We try to work with our retail partners. We try to work with people like yourselves who are out there spreading the gospel and really bring awareness to the core line brands, the Validation that you mentioned, Aniversario, New Cuba, JFR. We want more people to be aware of that. And again, we've done a great job. I think most of the people that are, I would say, and I use this term lovingly, I consider myself one, cigar geeks, would certainly are familiar with us, know about us, enjoy our cigars, or at least have tried them. The average consumer, the guy that just kind of walks in the store or buys what he likes, it doesn't, he probably has a few different ones he likes, but kind of sticks to the same few. That guy doesn't pay attention as much, and we want to get it in his hands, and we need our retail partners, and we need guys like yourself to do that. And if you're coming out with stuff constantly, it's kind of you're not giving it time to really sink into the market. And so a lot of what we're going to be doing this year is really focusing on making sure that our core line brands are in the stores, are selling well, and have a firm foothold in the humidor. And then doing again a new size of Supreme Leaf, a tubo, which we don't have. We got a fresh pack of all Connecticut cigars coming. It's more stuff like that kind of fills a little bit of a niche, but isn't a totally new line, because we want our retail partner. And again, the other thing is that if you're doing that too much, it gets to the point where it kind of loses its luster. When you come out with a new brand, you want people to really be excited about it. If every month you got a new thing coming out, it starts to be like, I didn't get this one. I'll wait till next month when there's another new one. Right. Now those, because those rare Supreme Leaf sampler boxes, those going to be available in a limited quantity as well? Is that going to be kind of an all year release? No, it'll be limited, because again, it's hard, with Supreme, it's hard to produce too much of it at any one given time. So it'll be that will be the second run of it for the year. So instead of doing a new size, we're going to release a box. Instead of a 10 count box of all a new size, it'll be a 10 count box, one of each of the sizes we've released. And now, do you know like the
I guess the MSRP on what that will be, or do you guys not have that yet?
It'll probably, I don't have an exact, but again, the MSRP will probably be around like about 140 around there.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, for a limited edition cigar, it's
absolutely.
it's still in the realm of reason for sure.
I'm definitely gonna try to get my hands on that one for sure. Now I noticed you guys do the humidors as well with I guess they're sampler humidors that you guys have, the leather.
Yeah, we do those usually for an event, either you buy a certain amount and we'll give it to you, or we pre-pack it and you can buy it as a sampler. We tend to do those for events.
Okay. No, because I've been seeing those pop up more and more lately. So I was like, the most recent one was the giveaway with Fox Cigar.
Yeah. So we our retail partner Fox, we did a giveaway with them that was one of the items you got. We have a group on Facebook called Aganorsa Acolytes. We have over 4,000 members there. We do a monthly contest. People win stuff like that.
I'm definitely in that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you got to enter the contest. Every month we have a contest. Like at Christmas, we did an ugly Christmas sweater. We did. Somebody won from that. We do comment on this picture, or give what should be the tagline for this photo, posting in the cold or what, just different fun stuff. And then we do a monthly Zoom meeting where we give out the prize. That you don't have to necessarily attend that Zoom meeting, but we do also give out prizes. We did a fun thing with the Aganorsa axe. It's really a hatchet, but axe sounds better. So we've given those out for prizes, and it's a great way. Again, just a great community of Aganorsa smokers all over the country, and a way to have fun and get some cool swag if you partake in the group.
Absolutely. No, I love the group. Even though I don't post in it all the time, because sometimes I smoke Aganorsa and I totally forget, trying to post in every single, group. I'm like, did I get everything? And then sometimes I'll see it pop up. I'm like, oh man, I forgot to post in there.
We need you validating. We need you validating in the group. I can't do it alone. I need your help.
Absolutely. No, I make sure to try to do what I can when I remember to do it. But
no, I know. I'm just joking.
No, you guys, listen, your group is probably one of the most active. You guys and Smoke In are probably two of the most active groups I've seen on Facebook.
Yeah, great. Again, they're a great group as well. It's Smoke In. I'm a member there. And again, like I said, we're just trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it fun. We're trying to and again, to let people know a couple of things. One is that we feel that you're part of the community. We want you to feel part of Aganorsa. We want you to feel when you're enjoying our cigars that's appreciated, that we appreciate your feedback. I'll tell you, I'm not that smart. What I do basically is I just take feedback from our customers and our retailers, and then I pass it off as my own ideas, and that's been really successful for me. So I listen, and if I hear the same thing over and over again, we listen as a company. We hear, okay,
that's a big thing as consumers, that a company is listening to their consumers of the product, because that's something I feel in the industry becomes a lost art.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are what keeps the lights on for the retailer, for us, for everybody at the factory. And so I think it's important to pay attention to the concerns. And again, I always say that, people come to ideas, and if we don't necessarily implement your particular idea, that's nothing wrong. It's not a slight on it or anything. We can't do everything. But if we hear from you, and we hear from another person and another person, the same thing kind of over and over again, we look at that and we say, well, is that something feasible for us to do? And if it is, we say, well, we have people asking for it. Let's give people what they're asking for. Let's listen to them. And I think that's very important. If you're gonna, and one of the reasons I still travel quite a bit, and I think the value of that is you get to really see how things are. When you don't travel, you kind of get in the ivory tower and you start believing that everything you do is genius, and it's not the case. It's you have to get out there and you have to hear people tell you what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and we make changes based on that feedback.
Absolutely, and it gives you a chance to get in front of the retailers as well.
Yeah, those relationships.
Say, hey, listen, this particular one isn't moving. What's comparable, or what can we replace this with in here instead of having this one that doesn't move?
Yeah, with this one that does.
Place that'll move.
Yeah, and having the understanding their humidor, seeing who's in there, what are the customers smoking? Oh, smoking big ring gauges. Well, again, probably Lunatic and JFR are going to be a better fit. Is it a place that's more a cigar bar that does the average cigar sold there is $20. Well, again, our anniversarial line is going to probably be a better fit in that store. So it's just listening and observing and keeping those relationships strong, making sure that when there is an issue that you address it. I think with people, one of the biggest things is when you're dealing with somebody, okay, yeah, everyone's your buddy when it's going well, but like, okay, well, I have a problem. Do you fix the problem? Do you do it in an efficient time frame?
Right.
That's a huge thing, because everyone has problems. The donkey dies in the road and the shipment's delayed, or there's some sort of the UPS truck was out parked in a -20 for 5 days, and the cigars showed up with some issues. Yeah, you got to take care of those problems because everyone's going to have them, and if you don't take care of them, what that tells the retailer is basically, oh well, they're as long as I'm giving them money, they're nice to me, but as soon as I have an issue, they vanish. So there's other, nobody. I've never walked in a store and they said, "Oh my God, thank God you're here. I was almost out of cigars." There's lots of great cigars. There's lots of great companies out there. What really separates you is really that ability to that trust that they have, and that this is a good company with good people, and the cigars are I've dealing with them. I found the cigars that work for my humidor, and when there is an issue, hopefully very rarely, they take care of it.
When you're not smoking the Aganorsa, what are you smoking?
So non-Aganorsa products, right? Not like
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a bunch of cigars I like. I'm a cigar fan. Aladino, I'm a huge fan of him. His tobacco is great. Oh, the Aroa family, Christian as well.
I actually just got a couple of those from a giveaway I won.
Yeah, great cigars. I love the flavor. I tend to smoke stuff that doesn't taste like our stuff because it's kind of like that, Right. It's like it's just like it's just like a Cadillac. Well, if it's just like a Cadillac, why don't I have a Cadillac? You want to have something different, and so I love Plasencia, the Alma Fuerte, some of the Roma Craft stuff, the Intemperance, some of Saka's cigars, and again like the Fuente 858 Rosado is a great cigar. Davidoff Late Hour I think is a great cigar. Again, obviously I have an affinity for my uncle and the blends that were created there. Of course, I'm a little biased, of course, because some of those are things that
I buy when I go to Kevin. He's got the tins of the Casa Magnas, the
Sanchos,
4.5 by 60s. Oh my dude,
the Sanchos.
Those little cigars are insane, and for the price is even better.
Yeah, that was the Casa Magna line. I was involved in a lot of that over there. So I kind of usually don't say those when I talk about cigars I like, only because I feel I'm biased towards them. I was involved in the creation of a lot of them, but I still always have an Oktoberfest every year. The Domus Magnus blend I think is great. Casa Magna, the original Robusto, is a great cigar. So I've
enjoyed a few over the years, and Kevin has, when I ask him, I'm like, what's good, what's not, he always tells me, and that's one brand that I've told him, I'm like, I enjoy it. And he's always said great things about the Oktoberfest and the regular lines from the Casa Magnas. I think the first one I had was a really, I call it a thin box press. I think it was the
Kaiser Ludwig.
Yeah, I think it was like the Colorado version or something like that of a Casa
Magna. Yeah, the Casa Magna box press. Yeah.
Colorado, but it was like super. Somebody gave it to me years ago. And it was like super, super thin. And I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a great cigar. Espinosa, L'Orange, the 601 Maduro, great cigar. Again, I always say there's lots of great cigars. A lot of them also, buy tobacco from us. So but there's a lot of great companies out there. And, I enjoy a cigar. It's nice to trade with people when you have the opportunity. Some of the Crown Head stuff is great, and again, when I say some of the Crown Head stuff is great, I haven't had everything. So I've had things from them I've really enjoyed.
We actually we had John on the show last month or 2 months ago. Another one, just like yourself, a great interview because you guys have so much wealth of knowledge that we can ask one question and it takes you, that one question you might answer it to another 3 or 4 questions that we had.
Yeah, you try to give thorough answers without going too much.
Absolutely.
But yeah, again, the point is there's lots of great cigars. The Pledge from EPC, Again, I could go on and on. If I haven't named something, it doesn't mean anything. It I think the best, you know, I always joke the best part about this business is smoking cigars. Smoking cigars
Absolutely.
with good people that you enjoy the company of and sharing those experiences. That's if you're not in the business for that, get out. There's easier ways to make a living. It's you know, it's not an easy business.
With that, I want to thank you for coming on, Terrence. I'm a little bit over time, but that's okay. It was a great interview. I would love to have you back on for sure.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And thank you to everyone that out there listening.
Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. We hope everybody on Roku and Amazon enjoyed the interview because they were watching on Roku TV and Amazon TV as well. So thank you guys. Terrence, thank you again. I definitely want to set up another date to have you back on for sure. After the if I can get my hands on that box, I'm going to try my best to get my hands on that Supreme Leaf sampler when it comes out.
Well, reach out anytime. Like I said, I'm always here for questions, comments, concerns, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on your show.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Maddie, thank you for jumping on with me and having your time with Terrence since you missed the last one.
Thank you, Joey, for having me on and help me be complete with Terence Riley.
I finally forgive you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25 and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.